Hey guys, Jake here, and today I am here with week number 5 of NPL Minors. This week we're going up against Carnie Hobo, coach of the Vancouver Froakies. He's a pretty solid player and he uploads pretty consistently, so definitely check out his channel. The link will be in the description below. But yeah, we are coming into this game in a pretty bad record in my opinion. We're going into this game at 2-2 with a -4 differential. That differential is just terrible right now. So this game is pretty much a must-win game. Carnie is also in our conference, so getting in conference win would potentially be very helpful. So yeah, this is a must-win game this week. Similar to the week before, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to on this team because of March Madness going on. So I was a bit rushed when I came to building, but I do think I built a solid team. So his team. Right here, I'll read off. His team consists of Mega Gardevoir, Ferrothorn, Salamence, Alolan Muck, Necrozma, Z Blacephalon, Z Maractus, Z Electabuzz, Hitmonlee, Alolan Dugtrio, Toxapex, and Volbeat. Now, Carnie definitely builds a team around some like solid low-tier memes, such as like Volbeat, which he's actually brought to I think every game but one, and Maractus, and yeah, stuff like Maractus. And yeah, it's just some other low tier stuff. And because he made the low tier Mons Z move, it means Salamence doesn't actually have access to Z moves, which makes it a lot less of a threat. Because a Z Salamence could have been just a ginormous threat to my team, because I don't really have much stopping it from setting up. But especially like a Dragonium Z Salamence. But thankfully, he is not Z Salamence, meaning it's a bit easier for me to deal with. Salamence is still a big threat to my team, though. Something just like Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw / Outrage, Earthquake for Jirachi, and then Stone Edge for Togekiss just hits my whole team, and it obviously outspeeds everything at +1. I don't have the best Scarfers to revenge it, except for Garchomp, but Scarf Chomp is pretty bad this game. So yeah, Dragon Dance Salamence could be a pretty big threat. Could also see him being like a bulkier chomp this game, but or bulkier Mence this game, just because it deals with some stuff decently well, and if he wants to have a defogger, Mence can fit that role decently well. So yeah, I could definitely see Mence being a pretty big threat, especially if Dragon Dance. He's also got the Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir I don't really have the safest switch-ins to, especially just because Jirachi is like a pretty obvious switch-in, and Shadow Ball can potentially do a KO certain spreads on the Switch. Just because my team is generally slow, Mega Gardevoir outspeeds a lot of it and hits my team very hard. So yeah, it's a pretty big threat to my team. I do have some decent special balls in my team that can help me deal with it though, so that is pretty good. And he's also got the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is a pretty big nuisance to my team. It just walls a lot of stuff. It checked my Gyarados pretty well. It also kind of it makes a lot of things on my team forced to run coverage, which is like really annoying. Like the team I built, I actually pressure Ferrothorn decently well, but the annoying thing is that it can still be pretty annoying because I don't have a switch into Leech Seed, and also it really forced me to run moves I wouldn't want to. So, like, you'll see I'll be forced to run Defog on my Togekiss because of the threat of Spike's Ferrothorn, and I also just have to run a lot of fire coverage on a lot of my mons just to pressure that thing, because it can be a very big nuisance. You guys know how Ferrothorn works, just with Leech Seed, Protect, Hazard. It can be really annoying if you don't prep for it. He's also got the Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck, I don't think it matches very well versus my team. I have a lot of good countermeasures to it, but I can definitely see him being like a bulky set if he just really wants to Pursuit Trap my Jirachi. But overall, I deal with Muck pretty well in my draft and the team I built. He's also got the Necrozma. Necrozma is a very scary mon to prep for, just because it has so many options. Because like it has so much setup, stuff like Calm Mind, Rock Polish. He even brought Iron Defense, like physically offensive, like Adamant Iron Defense that almost beat Hiker. So yeah, he's got a lot of different options with Necrozma, and it makes it pretty scary to prep for. So I definitely had to be on the lookout for that. Out of all sets, I was expecting like a Rock Polish offensive one with like Rock Polish, probably Photon Geyser, Earth Power, and either Calm Mind, probably Calm Mind or Recovery. Or even Rocks, just because like his rock setters are kind of limited. He's also got the Blacephalon, and I have two. If you look at my draft, I have two decent answers to Blacephalon at first. Like you see Meg Gyarados and you see Snorlax. Both resist the dual stab if Snorlax is thick fat. But but Blacephalon actually has a very solid attack stat, and something I was really kind of worried about was the potential of a Z Explosion Blacephalon, which hits stuff like my Snorlax and my Gyarados really hard, just because Blacephalon has like a 120 attack stat, and it's not something really easy to scout for either, just because it does a good amount to anything on my team, and stuff that would like switch into an explosion doesn't really like taking other moves from Blacephalon, so it would definitely be very risky. So Blacephalon could be a threat. I do have some pretty good answers to it on my draft though, so it's not the biggest deal. He's also got the Maractus. I don't see if Maractus really has any merit this game over Ferrothorn, just because if he wants to bring like a bulky Fizz Def as a Gyarados check, he has Ferrothorn right there. And yeah, I just don't think it has that I don't see what it would do this game. He did bring it one game to like check a Zygarde, but my team doesn't really. Well, obviously my team doesn't have Zygarde, and usually Ferrothorn is better to check offensive things as a grass type. The only merit Maractus had was that it could resist 1,000 arrows. So yeah, I really don't expect Maractus. And here he's got the Electabuzz. Now I didn't notice in prep how much of a threat Electabuzz was to my team. And spoilers, I am very underprepared for Electabuzz, and it can actually be a huge threat in game. I kind of just overlooked it, which was very stupid of me. But yeah, Electabuzz can definitely be a huge threat just because it outspeeds everything on my draft except for Salazzle, and just can hit stuff decently well. My electric resist aren't the best because of stuff like Garchomp, and which doesn't like taking HP ices, and Shaymin can take it on pretty well. But yeah, besides that, Electabuzz could be a pretty big threat to my team, so I definitely made the mistake of overlooking it in prep. He's also got the Hitmonlee. I have pretty good answers to Hitmonlee on my team. Stuff like Quillfish can eat earthquakes. Togekiss can switch into stuff as well. Just a lot of my team outspeeds it in general. Wasn't really too concerned about Hitmonlee, although the right set could definitely be a problem. He's also got the Alolan Dugtrio, which same deal with Electabuzz. Honestly, I didn't really prep for it that much. I kind of overlooked it. If you look at the team I brought, it still stabs kind of just really nice against me. Just like something like a Life Orb Earthquake hits everything hard except for a Togekiss, which you can just Iron Head. So yeah, that thing could potentially be a pretty big threat. He's also got the Toxapex. Toxapex is a mon that has pretty disgusting synergy with Ferrothorn, but I did build this team in a way so a lot of my stuff can capitalize on the Ferrothorn and Toxapex core. So I'm kind of hoping he brings Toxapex because it's kind of a liability versus the team I brought. And he's also got the Volbeat. Now Volbeat forced me to bring some attacks on stuff just because stuff like Tail Glow Pass into his special attackers could be very, very threatening. It's why I still prepped pretty hard for Cephalon, even though it honestly had a pretty poor matchup versus my draft. But yeah, so let's get into the team I built. First off, let's start off with my win con. This is my win con, my sub DD taunt Mono Crunch Mega Gyarados. This mon is a monster versus team because I can afford to run Mono Crunch because his dark resists are Alolan Muck and Hitmonlee. That is it, and none of those like taking crunches after some boosts, and they can't even do that. And Muck can't even do that much back to me. This thing makes Toxapex its bitch because like I can just sub on it, so I don't have to worry about Scald Burns, taunt so it can't haze me, and that can set up till whenever. The only thing is, the biggest thing stopping this thing from sweeping is the Ferrothorn, just because it has Iron Barbs and it can take crunches from me decently well. So I'm gonna save this game in the late, save this thing for the late game to try and hopefully I'm gonna try and hopefully weaken Ferrothorn early game to really clear the roads for my Gyarados to sweep late game. I set up on a lot of stuff. I believe this HP investment makes it so I live. Oh, I forgot what it was. It was for maybe it's like an uninvested Gyarados. I don't know. Gyarados is really fat, so I know I made it bulky for some reason. Yeah, I can't. This HP investment allows me to I can 100% sub up on like a choice Scarf Bucephalon if it's like locked into Shadow Ball. Well, I can just pretty much just set up a sub on any Bucephalon that is not boosting item or has boosts up. So that's pretty nice. The speed, I speed tie with base 100s on his team, which is pretty much only Mega Gardevoir and Salamence, but that's if they're uninvested. So I really thought going Adamant would be worth it because I didn't think he would be min speed on Salamence and Gardevoir. I believe I just ran the speed because it was an overall nice benchmark, and this attack investment probably allowed me to kill Toxapex at a certain amount. I built this team a while ago, so I don't remember what all of the HP or the EV investments were for everything, but they were certainly there for a reason, so I guess I'll just try not to remember. But here we have my Garchomp. This is a mixed grounded EMZ Garchomp this week, rocking Stealth Rocks, Earthquake, Fire Blast, and Draco. This is speed creeping his max speed base 100s like Salamence and Mega Gardevoir, and this mon just overall hits his team so hard. Like, mixed is really nice for his team because I can Fire Blast, Ferrothorn, and I do like 80 minimum, and which is really nice shit for my Gyarados late game, because he might think if I'm a physical Garchomp, the best I can do to him is Z Earthquake, but I can actually just Fire Blast, do like 85, and really just weaken that thing for the rest of my team, which is great. Rocks are really important versus his team too. Getting stuff like the 25% chip on the Salamence and the Bucephalon is pretty important. And also, he doesn't have the best removal on his team. His removal is pretty much Salamence, which doesn't always like to run Defog, and Hitmonlee with Rapid Spin, and Volbeat with Defog. So, yeah, rocks are really nice against this team. Draco Meteor is so Salamence can't just come in, intimidate me, and try and set up a Dragon Dance. I'm invested, so I can OHKO a Salamence with Draco Meteor, a no-bulk Salamence, because that's where I think he should be versus my team, because I have stuff like Shaman and Jirachi that might force him to run max speed. So yeah, overall really nice mon. The only mon that I can say really switches into this is the Necrozma, but that's only if it's a very bulky set, and even then it doesn't really like taking Z Earthquakes at all. So yeah, very nice mon this game. Get up rocks, weaken his team, just overall be a very big nuisance to his team. Next up I have got pretty much obligatory special sponges game, my Snorlax, rocking Figgy Berry, Gluttony, Return, Pursuit, Recycle, and Fire Punch. I really wanted this mon on the team because I wanted something that can take hits from Mega Gardevoir and the Bucephalon, because those mons were pretty threatening to my team. I can take special hits very well, and I can Pursue Trap the Bucephalon, which will kill it. If I recall correctly, if he switches out, which is very nice. I'm not thick fat, so I don't take Fire Blast that well, but the only way he can do a KO me is if he's a modest Specs Bucephalon, which I'm not really expecting that much. So yeah, overall very solid mon this game. It gives me switching to the Gardevoir. I eat Side Shocks for days. I believe that's what my defense investment is for, to help me take Side Shocks. If he's an offensive Gardevoir, I will be able to 2K him with Return after Rocks. Fire Punch for the Ferrothorn, and overall just Return, uninvested in Return, hits his team pretty nicely. Toxapex kind of walls me, but as I said earlier, I do have good ways of capitalizing on the Toxapex with the rest of my team. So yeah, good Sponges game. Overall does its job good. And yeah, next up I have a Leftovers Togekiss, rocking special defensive, rocking Leftovers with Serene Grace, Air Slash, Roost, Encore, and Defog. This mon is basically here because I really wanted to bring Togekiss for Defog this game. Just because he has the Ferrothorn that could potentially stack spikes, and I really didn't want that. This mon is also nice because I have the Encore tech, which means Necrozma can't really set up as easily versus me, and this also makes me this also is a very nice play versus the Volbeat, and because I think he's gonna like try and do some Tail Glow Baton Pass shenanigans, I can go into this Encore and then basically just lock him in to whatever, as long as he doesn't already have a Tail Glow and sub up, but like I shouldn't allow that to happen just by the nature of my team. But yeah, this checks a lot of his team defensively. I think I'm actually physically defensive in the game, but I re-imported my team from my front office because all my teams got deleted recently, so I think I'm actually more of a physically defensive Togekiss in the game, so I'll just change it to that. I'm physically defensive, so I can take Hits from Salamence better, Hitmonlee better. Overall, I can kind of take gyro balls from Pharaoh. Just deal with this team pretty nicely. Defog, air slash. He doesn't really have great air slash switch-ins because nothing really likes getting flinched. I guess Muck is a pretty good switch-in because it's like it takes nothing. But yeah, overall, very nice utility. This game gives me stuff to stop potential sweeps because I know Carnie can be a very wild builder and he could try and surprise me with some potential setups. So yeah, I felt like this was a pretty nice option this game. So yeah, next up I have a Rocky Helmet, physically defensive Quillfish with Spikes, Thunder Wave, Scald, and Taunt. This mon is just great this game because, as I said, his removal is pretty subpar, and I can just come in on pretty much all of his physical attackers and just get that -1 attack drop, and I can set up Spikes and Taunt stuff like the Toxapex and Ferrothorn. Like I can just bring this thing on Ferrothorn, taunt it, and then just set up as many spikes as I want. The spikes are really nice versus team, especially for getting the chip damage on the Ferrothorn and the Necrozma every time they come in. Thunder Wave is nice for just speed control in case I need to bring this in versus Immense. I can Thunder Wave it and then I'll speed it with some other monsters such as my Garchomp. Yeah, overall, just Scald is Scald. Burn chance is nice. This mon gives me a very nice switch into the low and Muck as well. If he brings his Muck versus my like Togekiss or Jirachi, I can just bring this in, get some Rocky Helmet chip on him, and then start just like setting up spikes with Willow. Honestly, the Necrozma is really the only thing that I would say likes to come in. But I do think I built a team that deals with Necrozma pretty well because I do have stuff like Substitute on my Gyarados and Encore on my Togekiss. And one more mon that really likes capitalizing on his fat stuff is right here. I got a leftovers Calm Mind Jirachi here. Rocking Calm Mind, Hidden Power, Fire, Flash Cannon, and Psyshock. This is coverage for his whole team. Just hits stuff very well. I believe the speed is for like a max speed on non-boosting speed nature Necrozma. And on max special attack just to do as much damage to his team, and max HP because I want to bulk, because taking hits from stuff like Gardevoir, Salamence, and even Muck if need be could be pretty nice. But yeah, this mon just with +1, it hits his whole team really hard with the exception of Muck, which as I said, I do have my Quillfish which can capitalize on Muck coming in on this. So yeah, very solid mon this game. It gives me another way of dealing with Toxapex well. If I'm not leash sheeted, I easily beat Ferrothorn 1v1. If he's a bulky guard, I will outspeed this and do pretty decent damage with Flash Cannon. I set up on Necrozma as well once I scouted set, and as long as he's not Swords Dance, I think I beat any Necrozma variant 1v1, which is just great. I couldn't really fit room for Wish, which is unfortunate because I needed Psychic Stab for Toxapex and the remainder of his team. Flash Cannon for Gardevoir and pretty much for Gardevoir and Necrozma, and Hidden Power Fire because I really wanted something to hit Ferrothorn on this set, just because Ferrothorn is Ferrothorn, and it could be really annoying if my checks go down. But yeah, I think I built a pretty solid team versus Carnie this week. So yeah, I'll be right back with the match. Alright, here we are with the match versus Carnie, and as you can see, he decided to bring pretty surprising squad, honestly, of Alolan Dugtrio, Hitmonlee, Ferrothorn, Toxapex, Mega Gardevoir, and Electabuzz. And I was kind of happy about the team he brought in, and I also was kind of terrified because this is when it hit me, and my team has no answers to an Electabuzz. Just an offensive Electabuzz is a pretty huge threat to my team. Snorlax can take hits decently well, but it's pressured by his Gardevoir pretty well, and yeah, it could carry low kick, which could do a very decent amount. So I might need to scout for that at some point in the game. Alolan Dugtrio is also a pretty big threat, something like a Life Orb Dugtrio. I don't really have switches to it, and it also outspeeds my whole team. The good thing is Gyarados can kind of switch into it as long as I'm not Mega Evolved and getting off and Intimidate. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the match. I decided to lead off with my dedicated lead, which is my Garchomp, just because I want to try and get up rocks as soon as possible, because they're rocks, and like I really want to get that chip on the Electabuzz once I saw that it was here. Now he leads off with his Ferrothorn, and I'm just going to go straight away for the Fire Blast, just because weakening this thing turn 1 is just so nice for the rest of my team. getting in range of my WinCon Gyarados is so nice, because like Gyarados is even better against this team he's brought, because one, he brought the Talk Specs, which I capitalize on, and he also didn't bring the Salamence, which could have been annoying with Intimidate, and he didn't bring the Muck, which could have resisted my Crunch Stab. But yeah, he didn't bring the Salamence, the Muck, or the Necrozma, which really surprised me, especially the Salamence and the Necrozma. But yeah, anyways, let's get back into the game. I Fire Blast turn 1 versus Ferrothorn, just because getting that nice damage is so great versus Ferrothorn. And he goes for his Rocks. Now here on this turn, this thing is in range of Earthquake, because that damage reveals that he's probably max physical defense, and he doesn't have very much special bulk at all. So Earthquake does knock this Ferrothorn out from this range of health. So I just go for the Earthquake, and he actually chose Protect. And here on this turn, this is a very important turn of the game. So I'm thinking his Ferrothorn is also it's already very low, and if you look at my team, once it's this low, the only thing I really can like take a hit from is Togekiss, and I guess Gyarados if I'm not boosted, because this thing also might potentially take Chip later in the game, and like it's already really low. I figured his play was just to sack off his Ferrothorn here, and I didn't think he needed that much. And Earthquake, because of the Protect and the lefties, will not knock out this Ferrothorn, and I didn't want him to potentially get up Spikes, Leech Seed me, get some chip damage, do anything of the sort. So I just make kind of, I guess, a misplay on this turn, and I go for the Fire Blast. And as you're gonna see, he goes hard into his Gardevoir, which kind of took me by surprise. But yeah, now I make probably the biggest misplay of the game, turn 1. So actually, yeah, this is a misplay this turn. Here I just made this play on completely autopilot. I did not think it through at all, and I'm just thinking, Tectonic Rage from my Garchomp kills any Gardevoir that it kills any Gardevoir that isn't like very physically defensive. And I'm just thinking, you know, it kills a max HP Gardevoir that doesn't have physical defense with it. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it. And this is a huge mistake, because I didn't think he'd be max HP, max physical defense Gardevoir like he is. And I go for the Tectonic Rage on this turn, and as you're gonna see, that does absolutely nothing to this Gardevoir, and I lose my Garchomp turn 4. This was a terrible play by me, just because I should have scouted, just gotten some information on this Gardevoir set before I risk my Garchomp like that, because now that I lost my Garchomp, Electabuzz is even more of a threat to my team, and Toxapex is also getting pretty annoying. Just if I lose my selling, like my Jirachi, and this is just huge. I don't think the Fire Blast miss mattered that much, because I don't think it would have done 21 to guard. I actually could be wrong. I haven't calced that yet, because I did have a lot of special attack investment. But yeah, if I Earthquaked the Ferrothorn, when I went for Fire Blast when it was at like 30, I wouldn't have had this problem, because Earthquake into Tectonic Rage would have easily knocked out this Gardevoir. But yeah, from that damage, I know that is definitely like a max HP, max physical defense Gardevoir, meaning I will probably outspeed it with my Jirachi. So I go into my Jirachi. Worst case scenario, I got a min roll, and he actually is faster, but even then, I should take an uninvested Shadow Ball very well. So I just fire off a Flash Cannon. I see he goes hard into his Toxapex, and I don't really mind this. I'm just going to fire for a Psyshock and see what he wants to do. Or actually, I go for the Psychic. I changed Psychic to Psyshock. I changed Psyshock to Psychic last minute, but yeah, Psychic does a very good amount, and he just goes for the Scald, fishing for the burn, and he does not get it, which is fantastic. Now, I just fire off another Psychic as he goes for the Baneful Bunker, and I'm just firing off Psychics. I don't want to go for the Calm Mind yet, just because I don't want him pulling like an aggressive switch into his Dugtrio and me not getting any chip damage on that. Chipping down the Dugtrio is pretty nice for getting a range of Fire Punch for my Snorlax and stuff. So yeah, I didn't really want him getting free switch into that, so I'm just firing off Psychics. And here on this turn, he goes out into his Electabuzz, and I'm pretty happy to see this, because I do get some pretty good damage off of the Electabuzz. And this I believe this shows to be an Eviolite Electabuzz. I don't remember if it's like max HP or just no bulk, but this is definitely Eviolite, and that actually ended up pretty well. But now I know that because it's Eviolite, it's not a boosting item, which is pretty relieving. I know I can probably take any hit this wants to do, very well. So I just fire off another Psychic on this turn. He's kind of struggling to deal with my Jirachi right now. So I get another Psychic, and that does a huge amount. And now he is even low. So getting this damage on the Electabuzz is really nice, and kind of relieved me a lot. So I'm just gonna fire off. I think I go for the Hidden Power Fire in this turn. Yeah, I go for the Hidden Power Fire in this turn just in case he wanted to like go hard into his Dugtrio, predicting their Psychic. But he goes onto his Gardevoir, I believe, sacking it off, and I can just click Flash Cannon and knock it out. So I probably should have clicked HP Fire there. Yeah, but yeah, now he goes on to his Dugtrio, and I believe I go hard to my Snorlax because I'm kind of sacking it off. But this is a big misplay because I didn't realize how much I needed Snorlax to deal with the Electabuzz later on in the game. I saw the Gardevoir was down, and I was like, you know, that was like the main thing I needed Snorlax for this game. I can probably just sack it off. So I go hard into my Snorlax as he goes for the Earthquake, and I actually eat that up very well. So he is actually not a boosting item, which is very nice to see. So I take that a lot better. Here I just fire off a Fire Punch in case he wanted to stay in, and killing that Dugtrio would be very nice for me. Here on this turn, I go hard into my Togekiss because I want to get these rocks off the field for my Gyarados ASAP because they are very annoying. And this Togekiss gives me a free opportunity to Fog, as now he goes hard into his Dugtrio, and I figured because he showed rocks on Ferrothorn, this is probably just like an offensive Dugtrio, and he's probably going to go for an Iron Head in this turn, so I'm going to pivot out into my Quillfish, get off an Intimidate, and get some Rocky Helmet chip damage, and he goes for the Iron Head, and he's still not a boosting item, so that is good information. Now here I double into my Gyarados, because I'll be able to get another Intimidate off, and I would eat a likely Earthquake. I could have just stayed in and eaten an Earthquake and gone for something like a Scald, but I want to keep this healthy for the Hitmonlee in the back, and Gyarados is a pretty safe switch into this anyways. But he actually goes into his Ferrothorn. I'm not sure why, but that actually puts me in a pretty bad position here, because now I'm forced to switch out, and I go hard into my Jirachi as he goes for the Leech Seed, and now this Ferrothorn is getting back pretty healthy, which is very annoying, honestly. But here I predict him to switch out, so I go for the Calm Mind, and now I'm in a pretty good spot as I can just fire off a Psychic. It won't kill this Toxapex, but it will do a huge amount as it almost kills, and he goes for the Haze. So yeah, at this point in the game, I'm thinking maybe I need to keep this Toxapex alive because the Ferrothorn did heal a lot of damage back from Leech Seed plus lefties, and having this thing to like be set up fodder for my Gyarados is pretty nice. So I believe on this turn no, I actually just Psychic again. I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but oh yeah, here on this turn I think I realize I want to keep this alive, so I double into my Togekiss, which also covered just like other switches, and like I wanted to keep my Jirachi around pretty much. And here goes into his Togekiss, and I'm just gonna fire off an Air Slash. I thought I didn't miss that much from it because there's a flinch chance, and I should be able to eat a Jar Ball. And if he goes for hazards, I can defog the way. Oh, I actually Encore, so he's locked into Protect, and now I can force his switch out. So I fired off an Air Slash, he just goes into Toxapex, which is kind of giving him regen. I get a crit, which won't really matter. Yeah, I can just fire off an Air Slash, and I just go for an Air Slash again, trying to hopefully get a flinch, and he actually is able to get a Leech Seed off on me. So here I'm thinking I can kind of just take this opportunity to go into my Quillfish, taunt this thing, and maybe get up some spikes. But here I have probably the biggest misplay in the game, probably even more than my turn 4. I don't know why, but I figured I want to paralyze this thing, just so it has to think twice about always clicking the move, and there's always the chance of the paralysis. So I go for the oh no, I keep getting too ahead of myself. But yeah, I taunt this turn, and then here I go for the T-Wave, and now Electabuzz, as he makes a very solid play hard into his Electabuzz, and here's where I realize, oh crap, I kind of lose to Electabuzz, so I need to sack something off. I decide my Rachi is too low to do, stuff at this point. So I sack off my Jirachi as he goes for the Volt Switch, and now he gets a free switch into his Dugtrio. Now he just goes for the Iron Head, and I go for the Hidden Power Fire, and I flinch, which sucks a lot because I'm modest offensive Jirachi. That would have knocked out the Alone Dugtrio. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate, but the bright side is now I get a free switch into my Gyarados, and I can intimidate this thing. I just fire for Crunch this turn because it will knock out the Dugtrio, and I didn't want to Dragon Dance just yet because he did have the Hitmonlee in the back. But he actually goes into his Toxapex this turn, and I get really excited because I'm thinking maybe this is my chance to win the game. Because if I get like a couple DDs up, I can potentially just win with my Gyarados right here. He did already reveal Haze, but I do have Taunt for that, so I set up a sub on this turn just in case he wants to try and go for Scald. As he goes for Haze, I'm guessing his plan was to spam that. Here I'm gonna go for the Dragon Dance because I'm thinking I think he probably just wants to break my sub. He might not be expecting both Taunt and sub on the Gyarados, so I just go straight for the Dragon Dance. As he goes for the Scald, and Scald, as you're gonna see, I believe is a 4 KO to break my sub, or 3, I don't remember. But here I just Taunt, and he goes for the Haze, so I'm free to sub another Dragon Dance right now, and he's just gonna spam Scald in an attempt to break my sub. Overall, yeah, so as you're going to see, Scald is a 4K to break my sub, which is great. Here on this turn, I make the safe play and go for the Taunt, even though I figured he probably would expect that. But he actually does just go for the Haze, which is great, so because now I am able to Dragon Dance again, and +4, I believe, is +4 is what I need to be able to kill the Toxapex. So here I sub up again because he is still taunted and I'm not worried about him hazing, and as long as I just play my turns right, this Toxapex shouldn't be able to beat me. I do need to make sure that I have up a sub to take that I'm behind a sub so I can take a Mach Punch from a potential Hitmonlee. So here's why on this turn right here I make a very risky play. I go for the Crunch here because he should know that my play is 100% to taunt, and Toxapex can actually live a Crunch at this range, and if he predicts me to taunt and he goes for the Scald, he will be able to break my sub in 2 hits and potentially get a free switch into a Mach Punch Hitmonlee, and that would be able to break my sub. So in hindsight, this play might have been too risky because the Hitmonlee had not revealed its set at all, but I go for the Crunch on this turn, predicting him to predict. Predicting him to Scald because my taunt was super obvious, and I would be able to. Oh my god, I keep getting ahead of myself. Fuck's sake. Anyways, yeah, here he sacks off his Ferrothorn, and here I Crunch, predicting him to Scald, and now, because of that play, I'm able to just clean up with my Gyarados. He reveals the Endure Hitmonlee, which is a pretty nice tech, but yeah, because of my Dragon Dance, I'm still able to outspeed after it lost its berry. So yeah, I get a nice 4-0 win. But yeah, we were able to pick up a nice 4-0 win versus Carnie, close to the Vancouver South Rocks. We really need this one, so yeah. I am going to announce some trades before I end this video. These are some pretty big trades, so I'll just make sure you pay attention. So I dropped Mega Gyarados for Mega Kangaskhan, so right after finally having a good game, Mega Gyarados unfortunately will be dropped. But yeah, Mega Kangaskhan I'm really excited to use. Because I got Mega Kang, I dropped Snorlax for Dusclops just because I really need to, drop some points, and I felt like Dusclops it's not the best mon at 2 points, but I figured it's got a nice typing. I could see myself using Dusclops in the rest of the season. Probably not, but it's a possibility. And then I dropped Passimian, Meloetta, and Pawniard for regular Alakazam and Bisharp. Now these 2 trades I'm really excited for because this gives my team a lot more offensive presence I think, and speed tiers. I think regular Alakazam is really underpriced at only 11 points. Same with Bisharp at only 10, and because Bisharp is 10 points, I will be able to use Z-moves with it, so I'm really excited to use both. So yeah, those are my free agents going into next week. So yeah, thank you all for watching. See you guys next time. I do want to apologize because my commentary wasn't that great this video. That's probably due to this game being played a very long time ago, and I don't remember everything that greatly. But yeah, I apologize. It'll be better next week because I will be fresh. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you guys next time. Peace.